Let's talk about Hornets rookie Brandon Miller, who is amazing.
Who's awesome. Yeah.
And kind of was an afterthought for a while. But also, like, he wasn't playing as well as he is now. But Wembanyama, obviously, so much hype around him. His statistical performance has been great. The Spurs stink, but Wembanyama's been awesome. And then Chet Holmgren, been unbelievable in his rookie season, even though he was drafted last year, but missed the entire season with an injury. So it's always been Wembanyama and Holmgren. And to be fair, in the betting market, it's still Wembanyama and Holmgren. Wemby about minus 275, Holmgren like plus 250.
Is Miller listed now at MGM?
He is.
Okay. Some places literally had made it a two-way. A couple weeks ago before Miller started doing this, they had made it literally just Wembanyama and Chet and nobody else, not even a field. So the idea is Charlotte's made a bunch of trades. Miller's got the long runway.
And they're probably going to trade Miles Bridges also.
That was kind of my implication. They're clearing the deck and then it's Miller as the high usage player on the team. I think here's the question, right? And with Coach of the Year, I run through this all the time. I go, all right, you put two voters in a room and there's an argument and you give them a topic. Who wins the argument, not who's the better arguer among the two voters, but can they come to a consensus opinion? So if you threw them defensive player of the year right now, even if one of the voters entered the conversation with not Gobert, Gobert wins that. You can't convince voters that it's somebody else right now. Now in 10 games, 20 games, could you convince them it's somebody else? Maybe. I don't know who that is, but keep an open mind. There's a lot of games left in the season. If you put voters in a room and it's okay, Brandon Miller versus Wembanyama, can you really win the Miller argument right now?
Right
Is there
now,
a way to
right
make it
now
happen?
you can't. No.
Well, my point's going to be, if he just does this for 30 more games,
and this to be so his last. What is this? This is last 5 games: 29, 21, 28, 35, 33.
Right. So let's say he's a 26 point per game scorer for the next 30 games. Is there a way that if, let's say, Wembanyama does exactly the same as he's doing right now, and Chet Holmgren does exactly the same as he's doing right now, and the Thunder win exactly as much as they're winning right now, and the Hornets and Spurs lose exactly as much as they're losing right now, who wins the argument? Is there a way Miller ever wins it? I guess my answer is, I guess so. It just still seems really unlikely.
I think the answer is, and I'm the one that kind of asked you the question.
I don't think the answer is no.
I think it's probably not.
Let's be honest, voters are going to look at a sheet of paper and be like, only 16 and a half points. It's hard to win that. So my point is just, if he did this every game, I can't say no, but it's just
it's a high bar to clear.
Also, I guess we have to have this conversation too. If you were making a list of the most injury-prone players in the NBA, Joel Embiid would probably be number one. Chet Holmgren has an injury history. We've never seen a player with Wembanyama's dimensions before. Do you bet 150 to 1 because somebody steps wrong, you're 5 to 1, or you're 3 to 1? I think Miller could actually beat Holmgren in an argument. I think that could happen. Beating Wembanyama is really tough.
I'm gonna bet.
So that's my point is, you can, when a price is insane, just crazy town, you can actually talk yourself into act of God type stuff for 150 to 1. No, really. You can talk yourself into, something that's really unlikely happens, and that's a really good bet. And it's, play it out 150 times. Does Victor Wembanyama sprain his ankle once in 150 rests of the seasons? Maybe more than that. We don't even know.
I would
played
say
very much.
Definitely more than that.
Right. So that's my only point is, is it a good bet only because of the extreme outcomes? Because I do think it'll be, if it becomes I don't want to do this and predict a Wembanyama injury, but that's part of having the conversation. If you have a Miller Holmgren argument, Holmgren will be the winning candidate who is very defensive capable, and his offensive game comes and goes because SGA takes a lot of shots. Jalen Williams, when he's healthy, takes a lot of shots. That's not what it is.
You get the occasional Lou Dort 28 point game.
And this isn't anti-Holmgren. He's amazing. He's part of the reason why they might be the 1 seed in the West. They're the favorite to be the 1 seed in the West. But it's a winning. It becomes Wembanyama versus Holmgren in the same way, where it's stats versus winning, and that's kind of what it's going to be. And raw points per game just tantalizes voters sometimes. When we talk about the Super Bowl and we argue for why do you like the 49ers and why do you like the Chiefs? What's the case for both of them? And we kind of bring it up, and we've had guests bring it up on the show too. Well, the case for the 49ers is the body of regular season work would lead you to believe they're the best team in the league. They played the best, won almost the most games, if not the most games. They have some of the best players, their box score performances in a bunch of the games. All of this leads you to the conclusion that totality of work, they're the best. And the case for the Chiefs rather is, well, all of that might be true, but this is different. Something to that effect. All of that is true, but this is different. And to be fair, the handicap of the Ravens in the AFC Championship was the exact same thing. Well, cool. All that's great. this might be different. Okay, with like the Clippers and the Cavs, I think you're going to have the same question. You're going to be like, okay, they've won 14 out of 15. They're, 26-5 since December 1st, whatever it is. They've got all these great players. In the Cavs case, especially, no, not a lot of those guys have been in the playoffs before. They have a coach that you have a lot of questions about in the playoffs. And it's going to be like, cool, like this is all neat. Also in the playoffs, is it just different? And it's like, that sounds really simplistic, except if you follow the playoffs in all sports, there are constantly examples of this happening where like the market gets set based on regular season performance. And then if you do have a strong contrarian opinion where like, no, the playoffs are different in some way. I mean, does anybody who bets on the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs want to argue this point right now? Like amazing all the time, favorite in the games, 0 out of 100. Like, is it just magic that it happens? So with the Cavs especially, that would be my point. Like, okay, they're the 2 seed. They're going to host playoff series, like Milwaukee goes to them in the second round, or the Knicks go to them in the second round, or Indiana or Miami or whatever. There might be this sense of like, hey, that's all great. And Cleveland will be favored in those series probably. Because again, body of regular, this is the Niners. They're the Niners.
And they'll have home court.
Right. And I say they're the Niners, like the Niners can win the Super Bowl, but just like, especially with Cleveland, it's just one of those classic things where like, we're going to get in a playoff series and I'm going to not want him. And I'm going to not want Mitchell as the best player. And I'm definitely not going to want Bickerstaff as the coach. And that's just kind of how it's going to be.
So the handicap would be, you know what? Because MVS is kind of like back in the circle of trust, I feel like.
Yep.
But I mean, like, okay.
One catch, he goes over, right?
So, yes, definitely. Okay, so I think if we're going to talk about him, we have to talk about Kadarius Toney.
Oh, I can't wait.
So Toney making like waves at Media Day last night on Monday night by being asked, like, hey, like, do you think you're a number 1 receiver? And his response was, like, when I get the ball, I think I am. And look, like he's
supposed to think that.
And look, like
I'd say that if I was number 1 receiver.
And look, like he's nuts. He's like a crazy
But even
person.
if he wasn't nuts, like,
yes.
But what do you want to say? I suck.
But like, but look, he also like kind of is a crazy person.
Well, yeah.
But here's maybe a take that's going to sound crazy. I think he's not wrong. Like when he has the ball in his hands, he's like Percy Harvin.
Yeah.
He's like more slight Deebo Samuel. Like
sure.
he's unbelievable.
Yep.
So he's going to play in this game. It looks like
Swiss Army knife kind of a player.
And I guess the thought could be that maybe, I don't know, like maybe he does something nutty in between now and the game and he's just like a healthy scratch and they don't play him. Like they don't trust him.
And that is possible.
But if he's going to play in this game, so MVS kind of has the big contract. I think MVS's role is secure.
Right.
Even if he's not going to get thrown the ball, he's going to be on the field a ton.
Right.
Kelsey's role is secure. Rashid Rice's role is secure. Pacheco's role is secure. And now with McKinnon unlikely to play, Clyde Edwards-Helaire's role is secure. I guess the question is now, okay, if we think that Toney is not going to be involved in the game plan, then I think Justin Watson becomes super viable.
Right.
But if Toney's going to play in the game, like Watson can be more reliable in the regular season, and there's something to be said for that.
Sure.
It's the Super Bowl. Toney's upside is in the sky, and Justin Watson's upside is like the second story of a building. It's not close. So maybe like Watson doesn't really play in the game if Toney's going to play a lot, I guess. What is your one favorite prop for Super Bowl 58 and why?
Oh, this is obscure, but I love it because there's so many ways to slice and dice this game at BetMGM. Under the signature bets tab or, theme, I guess you can click on MVS. Okay, devastating case of dropsies. You don't want him pulling the turkey out of the oven on Thanksgiving. Okay, we all agree with that, right?
Well, I mean, to be fair, he did catch that pass against the Ravens.
That Thanksgiving would have gone well. Yeah,
he's another. Well, dogs would have feasted.
Right.
And we gave thanks because we bet Kansas City, so that was really nice.
I love the over. First reception yardage is set at just 12.5
for MVS.
For MVS,
I like that.
Yeah.
It opened, I think, at 11.5 BetMGM. It's only 12.5, and I grabbed it at a light juice -105 on that over. I mean, he was number 2 in the NFL regular season in ADOT. And he had the second highest of any wide receiver eligible in the NFL, and he averaged 15 yards per catch. Now, he's going to get a lot of Charvarius Ward in coverage. He's only getting 11.9 yards per reception. But again, the shortcomings, they've been disastrous on defense, San Francisco, and all MVS does is run damn street routes. So he's going to probably catch a ball. It could be for 15 yards, 20, 25, 30, a 50-yard touchdown. It's 12 and a freaking half. Yeah. That's it. That's my favorite prop, bar none, on the board.
Did he have a catch before the long catch against the Ravens? Do you remember?
He had 2 in that.
Two catches total.
Yeah, 2 catches total, and it was like, what, 60 yards or
So
something
even
approximately?
right. So even if the first one went under for whatever, like your point is, there aren't a lot of catches.
2 for 38, but had the long of 32. But like with that being said, like I would never bet the under.
And how
on
many
that.
times?
I'm
Did
afraid.
and how many times did he get targeted? 3.
He got targeted. Let's see. He got targeted twice.
Twice.
So caught
So to your
both
point,
targets.
There you go.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.